Good evening, everyone. Hope you had a great weekend, no matter whether you did or didn't celebrate Australia Day. Um, Karen would like to just announce something about the audio system before we start the meeting.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Schiller. We are partway through our phase 2 of our audiovisual upgrade in here. We have got a technician from our supplier Lidl just helping us through tonight. It's not where the end result is going to land. We're partway through at the moment, but just letting you know that the microphones are especially sensitive, so any whispers will be caught by the microphone. Please be mindful and turn off your microphone if it's not your turn to speak. Thank you. And yeah, thank you. We've got our technician at the back helping us through if there's any troubles.
And just a reminder to elected members, if they would announce their name, if they want to speak, that will help me out. And hopefully we'll get through the evening. Another thing to mention is that if you have a general or material conflict of interest, if you could please indicate that prior to the recommendation coming up so that we're aware and that we can get you to sign your piece of paper after the meeting. So we will commence now, and the first part of the meeting is to do acknowledgement of country, diversity commitment, etc. So I think Marilyn will start with the acknowledgement of country.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Schiller. The City of Victor Harbor acknowledges the Ramangiri and Ngarrindjeri people, the traditional custodians of the land and surrounding waters where we live and work. We acknowledge their deep spiritual connection to country and pay our respects to the elders past, present, and those still emerging. This respect is also extended to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people across Australia. The diversity commitment is that the City of Victor Harbor is committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion. We respect people of all ages, abilities, genders, sexualities, religions, beliefs, cultures, and backgrounds.
We recognise the brave individuals who have served and continue to serve our nation. We remember those who have lost their lives and paid the ultimate sacrifice to our country.
Almighty God, we ask you bless this council and allow it to be an agent of change to the people of this city and beyond. Direct and prosper its deliberations to the honouring of your name and the welfare of the people whom it serves. Amen.
Next, we have our apologies and leave of absence. We have Councillor Carlos Karimba, who is on leave at the moment. We also have Councillor Burns, who is an apology. We have Mayor Maura Jenkins, who is an apology, and Michael Quinton. Thank you. There are no items adjourned or left lying on the table. 5 minutes of the previous meeting.
Councillor Schofield moving.
Got a seconder for that?
Councillor Mann seconding.
Any questions about that? We'll put that to the vote, please. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Next, we have a deputation from Keith Climpson about the horse tram. If he would like to step forward, that would be great. Just to let you know, Keith, that you have 10 minutes, and that includes your questions if you want to allow councillors to ask you any questions. And I'm assuming we'll have some indicator close to the end of that 10 minutes. One minute notice, you'll probably hear a bell ring.
Thank you. Right. Yeah, thanks very much for letting me come along today and give you this little deputation on the horse tram. I've taken an interest in this because every day I go for a walk around Granite Island and I see the tram being prepared, and I've kept a note of the times it leaves, times its last tram, this sort of stuff. And I had heard at previous meetings about the financial problems the tram was facing. So anyway, I'm doing this little deputation on behalf of myself and also Council Watch Fleurieu. So I'm here on behalf of Council Watch Fleurieu, and as a resident who's been closely observing what is happening on the ground with the Victor Harbour horse-drawn tram since Council approved a rescue package worth nearly $650,000. So this is not a debate about whether the tram is iconic, because it certainly is, and it's not a debate about whether trams should exist, because it definitely should. This is a question of something much more basic. After receiving a taxpayer bailout of this size, what operational changes have been made to ensure the tram actually earns money? So, as I explained, I've been looking at the times the tram's been running, and believe I sent all the councillors some photographic evidence of what I'd seen. How on Boxing Day, there were queues of people lining up to catch a tram, and there were just none available. Anyway, this here's what I observed over several dates. 23rd December, first tram 10:30 a.m. and the last tram 2 p.m. 24th December, first tram 10:30 a.m, last tram 2 p.m. Of course, Christmas Day, no tram service. 26th December, Boxing Day, first tram 10:30 a.m, last tram 3:20 p.m. Well, the trams always seem to be run at 10:30, so I'll stop saying that. So anyway, 28th of December, last tram 5 p.m. 28th of December, last tram 5 p.m. 29th, I never took a note. 30th December, 3:20 p.m. From this, one thing is obvious. The earliest start time is consistently 10:30 a.m. and the finishing time varies wildly, sometimes mid-afternoon, sometimes early evening, and there's no clear connection to the demand for the tram. Since I've started to take these times, and since the Christmas holiday period, I noted on one day the last tram was going to be absolutely at midday. So it started at 10:30, finishing at midday. Now this is the peak tourist season, and the reason I think there is a problem, it's not a demand problem, it's an operational failure. This is a transport business, and let's be clear about what this enterprise actually is. It's not a museum piece, it's not a display, it's a transport service. It exists to move people from point A to point B. And every empty seat, every idle tram, and every hour the tram does not run when people are waiting is lost revenue that ratepayers can never recover. And this is what economists call self-inflicted loss. Now, the forgotten 2017 roadmap. In 2017, the Council commissioned a full operational financial review of the horse-drawn tram. That report, the final report, did not mince words. It made very clear recommendations. Increased trip frequency, alternative traction, including motorised tram, which I believe at one time used to have. And the motorised tram during off-peak periods and when horses cannot operate. Improve roster flexibility, reduce reliance on penalty-heavy staffing, expand volunteer involvement, maximise seat utilisation, maximise asset utilisation, treat the tram as a tourist tourism transport operation, not a municipal depot. Now, these recommendations were the foundation for creating the Section 42 authority in the first place. So today I ask a very simple question. How many of these recommendations have actually been implemented? When I look at the Christmas operating pattern, what I see is late starts, early finishes, idle trams, missed peak demand, and no contingency operations when horses cannot work. In other words, the same problems identified in 2017, and they still existing in 2025. So where's the motorised tram? Now, historically, Victor Harbor ran a motorised tram to supplement the horse service. Now, this was not an insult to heritage, it was smart business. It meant services could run when horses could not. More trips could be run during busy periods. Revenue could be protected. Yet today, when horses are unavailable or schedules are tight, a service simply shuts down. Now, this is not preservation, this is financial self-harm. So what changed after the bailout? Councillors told the authority needed more time, but after receiving nearly $6,500,000, what has changed? The operating hours are still erratic, service is still constrained, the trams still sit idle while people wait. And this does not look like recovery, it looks like business as usual. So the final question I've got to ask the council. After years of warnings, a forensic 2017 report, 2 years of deficits, and now a massive ratepayer bailout, why is this operation still being run in a way that suppresses revenue instead of capturing it? And if the authority cannot or will not implement the operational model, council itself adapted in 2017, why is it still in charge? Now, ratepayers have been paying this bill. They deserve to see results, and I really believe the time for action and change is now. I did bring along a little printed document of what I've been talking about, but there's hardly anyone here, so I've made 14 copies. Should I just leave them on the table and you can help yourself, or come round? And have I got time left to drop them on your table?
We will
Okay.
distribute them after the meeting, Keith,
Look,
if you
I've
like.
got this lovely gentleman who's going to distribute them for me. This is basically a list of the times where they're operating and just what I've been talking about. So I hope you'll find it interesting. And I hope we can get some change.
May I respond to that? May I respond to Keith, please?
I
As
think you should, it would probably be appropriate to ask questions, but it would be inappropriate to start a debate about it's supposed to be a deputation. So he's sort of made a statement. If you have a question, I think you can have a question.
Thank you. Keith, I note the questions that you're asking. I just wonder, have you been in touch with the board? The Victor Harbor Horse Tram Authority are the ones that control and manage the tram. And I think a lot of your questions would be in relation to speaking to them. So have you contacted them
No,
for clarification?
No. I thought with the people who are paying the bills, like me, because I'm a ratepayer, I feel my first port of call should be you good people here.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
does make sense. Thank you. I appreciate your report.
Thank you.
Dave Kemp's got a question.
Yes, David, go ahead.
Thanks, Keith, for your presentation. Just a couple of questions on your observation. Through your observations, you didn't mention in your report how many trams were running, 1 or 2, through the Christmas period.
You know, it's a little bit embarrassing because I think I sent everyone a photo of the 3 trams in the shed and 1 was running.
Right.
and I've never ever seen more than one tram running.
And with the number of people lining up around the museum, around the kiosk area and the horse tram station, do you hear any comments about the delay of horse tram running or anything like that? Do you observe any comments from the public?
I don't like to hear bad language, so I didn't go very close to them actually, David.
Right, thank you.
Okay.
10 minutes is up, so thank you, Keith, for coming this evening, and we will move on now. Thank you.
Thanks for letting me speak.
We have no questions from the gallery. We have no petitions. Next is outstanding resolutions, and we're receiving a note. Receiving and noting the outstanding resolutions. Do we have a mover for that?
Councillor Mann.
Thank you. Seconder?
Councillor Kemp, second.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? No questions, then I'll put that to the vote, please. Carried unanimously. Thank you very much. We're now up to partial review of delegations.
Councillor Schofield moving.
Moving both the revoking and the, can we do that? Separate? Firstly, we'll do recommendation 1 to revoke, and then we will then do the second recommendations to instate the new. So do I have a seconder for the revoking of those?
Councillor Henderson.
Thank you. Any questions? If not, I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? And those against? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. Now move to part 2. Do we have a mover for that?
Councillor Mann.
And a
Councillor
second?
Henderson.
Great, thank you. Anyone like to have anything to say about the recommendation? If not, we'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. Now we move to recommendation 3. That's any mover for that, please.
Councillor Mann.
A seconder?
Councillor Kemp.
Any questions or debate about it? If not, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? And those against? That's a unanimous vote. Thank you very much. We're now up to the outdoor trading policy, and firstly we have the same situation where we need to revoke first. So do I have a move for that, please?
Councillor Mackenzie.
Thank you.
Councillor Schofield.
Thank you. Any debate?
Councillor Mann, just a question.
Yep.
It looks like that motion's all in one together, just confirming that we're doing it all together.
Yep. Do you have any things that you want to prize out from?
No, I'm happy to do that all together if we're allowed to move it all on block. That's fine.
Yep. Any more people that would like to have something to say? If not, I will put it to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. (9.4) is the reviewed street permit policy. Is that correct? Firstly, we will revoke the old policy. So anyone?
Councillor Henderson.
Thank you, Councillor Henderson. Okay. Seconder?
Councillor Schofield.
Any questions about that? If not, I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? Carried. Thank you. All right, now we're going to do B, C and D on block. So do I have a mover?
Councillor Mann.
Seconder?
Councillor Kemp.
Although, any debate or questions? If not, I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? That's unanimous. Thank you. At 9.5, and I'll get the acting CEO to read out the actual title of the item because it's quite long.
Inquiry into local government funding and fiscal sustainability, City of Victor Harbour submission.
Councillor Hender moving.
Thank you. Seconder?
Councillor Schofield.
Thank you. Would anyone like to debate about this particular?
Councillor Mann.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, no, just to thank administration for putting together such a thought out and reasoned submission to the federal government. It's good to see that the federal government is interested in the future and longevity of local government. Hopefully the state government can jump on board as well. But I guess it's a very interesting read for those in the community because it very much identifies the difficulties for local government at this point in time with little funding, lots of additional responsibilities, lots of cost shifting, and an incredible amount of, I guess, bureaucracy and things that we're needing to abide by these days under all the regulations, and also looking at that skill set in how we attract and retain key staff and also attracting elected members. So I think it's a very thought out submission. I just want to thank the administration that prepared it.
Is there anyone else to speak to the motion? If not, I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. Now we're on to 9.6. I've just got to remember. This is the third quarter rates notice, and in effect, we're suggesting that we alter the date from March 1st to March 31st, and that's in response to the corporate systems upgrade. I'm sure you've all read the motion, so do I have a mover for that motion?
Councillor Henderson.
A seconder?
Councillor Mann.
Thank you. Would anyone like to speak to the motion?
Councillor Kemp.
Go ahead.
Just a question. It talks about the Technology One couldn't provide a solution in time to meet the beginning of March. Have they provided the solutions now? Even though we've still got to go to the 30th of March, I understand that, but have they provided the solutions so this won't happen again?
Thank you. Through the Deputy Mayor, unfortunately, we have not yet got a resolution, not from a lack of trying. We will continue to persist. It's extremely important we get this outcome.
Just again for backup question, again for another additional 3 months, what's our backup plan or solution if Tech One can't come through with the proper solutions to fix the problem? What will be a backup plan in case for the next set of rate notices to go out?
To the acting CEO / Karen.
Thank you. Through the Deputy Mayor, it wouldn't be a simple workaround, a high volume of manual calculations. We are not entertaining that option at this point. We will come back to you if we need to. I very much hope we are not going to need to do that.
More debate or questions that anyone has? If not, we'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. Next, we have the major event called the, would you like to pronounce that for me? Valhalla major event, which is similar to the Viking type festival that we had. So we've got a few motions there. So are we wanting to separate them out or move them on block, or what would the chamber like to do?
Councillor Henderson, I'd like to move them on block. I think it's very straightforward.
Yep. All right. Do I have a seconder for that?
Councillor Schofield.
Thank you. Would either of you like to speak to it?
I'd just like to say I think this will be a very major and important event. It is very similar to something I'm familiar with, which was the medieval festival up in the Adelaide Hills. I think the Valhalla Festival, it will be a very interesting and exciting event, and I think Kent Reserve is the ideal place on which to hold it. It will bring in many visitors, I believe, and it is events like this one and others that we have come to run on a regular basis in Victor Harbor, which puts Victor Harbor on the map.
Councillor Schofield, would you like to say anything?
I've got nothing more to add to it. I totally agree.
All right. Anyone like to speak to it at all?
Councillor Mann.
Go ahead.
Yeah, mainly just a question to administration. Noting we're getting more and more major events on Kent Reserve, and that's being identified as an important part of the town. Would it be something that we could entertain in terms of increasing the maintenance of that reserve in terms of greener grass, or looking at what the state of that is? Currently, obviously, in peak summer, it's not too great down there, and I know this is earmarked for June, but I'm wondering if it becomes more of a used space, whether it's something we could look at.
Address that through Jodie, who's the Director of Infrastructure.
Thank you. Through the Deputy Mayor, there was, I'm not sure if you were here, but there was a resolution when the Red Hot Summer Festival a couple of months ago, and so we're actually putting irrigation into that section of Kent Reserve this year, and part of that, because there was going to need to be a cost associated with just making it ready for that one festival, but council resolved to actually put the irrigation in. So that's planned to be done this year. Whether it will meet the requirements for this festival or not, but then that will be ongoing. There'll be some increased maintenance costs for additional cutting and water supply, but that's already been resolved by council.
Do we think we'll be able to get it in by June?
It is included in this year, but whether it will be green enough depends how well it recovers from the previous event in March.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Like to speak to the motion? If not, we'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? And those against? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. Next, we have the 2026 Schoolies event, and this is the same thing. If we want them separated out at all, if you want to put them on block. So,
Councillor Mann,
Councillor Mann,
happy to move on block.
do I have a seconder for that?
Councillor Mackenzie.
Councillor Mann, would you like to speak to that motion?
Yeah, just quickly to say, I attended the behind the scenes Schoolies walkthrough last year again, and was just again blown away by the amount of the behind the scenes that's in the operation, the collaboration between Encounter Youth, council, local hospitals, medical staff, police, emergency services. It's such a massive, intricate operation. And when you see the control room with all the monitors, all the radios, all the maps, you very much get a different perspective on it, a perspective that probably some of the community don't get to see, even though they do open up the tours. So I'm sure they'll run it again this year. And if anyone's interested, to definitely get in touch with council. But it is such an incredible operation and does a lot to protect our young people as they celebrate. And hopefully this year we can try and capitalise on them wanting to stay and live in Victor Harbour and maybe sign them up for some house and lands or something. I don't know. We've got a captive audience, but I think, yeah, it's a great way to market Victor Harbour to a younger demographic who might not be thinking about staying here quite yet, but we can try and plant the seed.
Councillor Mackenzie, did you like to speak to it?
Yeah, I'll just add to that. Encounter Youth do a great job at running this each year. And even just the presence of them in the Schoolies Festival in Victor Harbour has a massive impact on our region. Even though Schoolies may not go to the event, they might stay around the place at caravan parks and things like that. Having Encounter Youth here amongst the caravan parks and where the school leavers are is really important to their safety, and also just helps facilitate them in Victor Harbour. So yeah, more than happy to support this.
Would anyone else like to speak to the motion?
Councillor Kemp.
Go ahead.
Just a question to the administration on feedback. Encounter Youth do a very good job, and it's quite safe for the participants who go to Wallen Reserve for the event. Have we had any feedback from the community of Schoolies and how that went last year? And have we received a report from the event organiser on how the event went and what are some of the issues that need to be fixed?
I'll give that to Director of Community Services and Development, which is Graham Padhouse.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor, through you. I'm not aware of any feedback that we've received from the community. If there was any issues that were raised, they normally get dealt with on the ground as they happen, and none of them escalated to senior management, at least anyway. So we feel that anything that did come up would have got resolved as it came up. In terms of reports for the end of the event, that's usually generated through the stakeholder group, where they come together and debrief the event. There's minutes and documentation that's kept of those meetings that just help inform them for next time as well. Although I haven't seen that in a formal sense as a report, but that's the process that takes place, and that has already taken place.
Would anyone else like to speak to the motion? If not, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? And those against? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. Now we're on to the Masters Games, which I can't see the item number, but Karen will. 10.3, and this is relating to declining the offer to submit an application or an expression of interest for the 27-28 Masters Games. So do I have a mover for that?
Councillor Mann.
Thank you. A seconder?
Councillor Mackenzie.
Councillor Mann, would you like to speak to it?
Yeah, just I guess for the context of those playing along at home, I think it's, whilst we're hosting this year, as I understand it, the 27-28 proposal, as detailed in the submission, is them looking at trying a different model in the delivery of it. And I think probably it's best in our context to have someone else try and test that model, be a bit of the guinea pig. And whilst we're happy to run it this year and what that'll bring, but I think it's definitely not, there's definitely the opportunity that City of Victor Harbor could host it in the future under whatever new model they go with.
Councillor Mackenzie, would you like to speak to it at all?
Nothing more to add.
Anyone that would like to speak to it?
Councillor Kemp.
Go ahead.
Just a question on the council hasn't had any feedback on the organisation and how it's going, even because we are putting money into it to make it happen. Could we get some type of report as to how its planning has been going? How far are they along the way of planning? Those types of issues that we can understand whether it's a good investment or not.
I'll direct it to Graham Pathouse to respond.
Thanks through the Deputy Mayor. Certainly we can provide some updates on that through perhaps the members' update. I think there have been a few updates that occur through the sport committees and things like that, but perhaps they don't all trickle through to the members. So we'll see if we can give you a bit of an update in the members' update. Thanks.
Anyone else like to speak to the debate? If not, we'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? And those against? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. Now we're up to 12.1, which is the capital updates. So do I have a mover for that motion?
Councillor Henderson.
A seconder?
Councillor Mann.
Thank you. Councillor Henderson, would you like to speak to it?
No, thank you.
Councillor Mann, would you like to speak to it?
No, thank you.
Anyone else that would like to speak to the motion? If not, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? That's unanimous. Thank you. Next up is 12.2, which is relating to the Hayward court access, and this is to defer it from the current 25-26 budget and place it in the as an item potentially in the 27-28 budget after we have done our detailed design for the Encounter Bikeway, which we'll be passing through that to make sure we're aligning the two projects together. So do I have a mover for that motion? Oh, 26, 27, I jumped a year there, sorry.
Councillor Henderson.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder?
Councillor Schofield.
Thank you, Councillor Schofield. Councillor Henderson, would you like to speak to it?
No, I think this is quite straightforward and logical.
Councillor Schofield?
No, thank you.
Anyone that would like to speak to it?
Councillor Mackenzie.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that we have to push it out into the next financial year to be able to look to achieve this. It would have been great to have started the process this year, but I can see obviously the tenders came back higher than what we allocated our budget for. Just want to make sure everyone's aware, the longer we push this out as well, the more that price is going to jump. So it would be great if we can see it happen in the next financial year, but yeah.
Anyone else that would like to speak to the motion?
Councillor Kemp.
Go ahead.
I understand why it's getting pushed out, and that's understandable, but the condition of the current steps leading down to the railway tracks from Hayward Court are in poor condition. Is council going to be doing any upgrading to maintain that access in a safe manner for the community to use, because I believe that some of the steps are in poor condition, and even missing a step down the bottom of the actual steps makes it a big jump to get off the steps.
I'll give that question to Director of Infrastructure, Jodie Roberts.
Thank you. Through the Deputy Mayor, there will need to be additional maintenance undertaken to hold those steps for another year. I wasn't aware of a step missing, so I will raise a work order for that. It could be just if it's at the bottom that the sand has moved, but I'll definitely bring that up with our open space team. Thank you.
Do we have any more conversation or debate about this particular motion? If not, we'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? That is unanimous. Thank you. We were up to 12.3, and this is relating to the buffer in the cemetery where we're looking. I'll get Karen to read the motion out so we've got it clear.
That Council approve the submission of an application requesting the dedication of the Crown Record 6166/384 to Council for cemetery purposes, and authorise the Chief Executive Officer to do all things necessary to complete the process.
Do we have a mover for that motion?
Councillor Kemp.
Thank you. And a seconder?
Councillor Mann.
Thank you. Councillor Kemp, would you like to speak to it?
Yeah, I think this is an important piece of action that council's going to be taking, because, you know, the cemetery has a shelf life of how many more graves and plaques can be placed there. So we need to be looking at any means and ways to expand the cemetery for future. So I'll be supporting this.
Councillor Mann, would you like to speak to it?
No, thank you.
Anyone else that would like to speak to the motion? If not, we will put that to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? That's unanimous. Unanimous. This is 12.4, and this is relating to the virtual power plant. And so I'll ask if we'll put up recommendation 1 first. So maybe I'll get our acting CEO to read that recommendation out.
That Council note the success of the City of Mitcham's Community Renewables Solar Panel and Battery Bulk Buy and Virtual Power Plant VPP program that has been implemented with Shine Hub.
Councillor Henderson to move that.
Do I have a seconder?
Councillor Mann.
Councillor Henderson, would you like to speak to it?
Just to say that we have had conversations for the full 7 years I've been on council around this type of notion, not exactly this, but I think it's good to see this come to us this evening in this current agenda.
Councillor Mann?
Yeah, I guess just to commend City of Mitcham for their work and their investment in this important area, and then also their willingness to share it with other councils around the state.
Yep, they've done the hard yards, and they're a larger council, so it's good to get councils that are a bit smaller to be able to piggyback off of their information and knowledge. So anyone else who would like to speak to the motion? If not, we'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? That's unanimous. Now I'll ask Acting CEO to read the second recommendation.
that Council approve collaboration with the City of Mitcham and use their community renewables framework, due diligence and tender results to implement a similar bulk buy and VPP program with Shine Hub, but tailored to suit the City of Victor Harbor and its community, and that a budget bid be prepared for Council consideration as part of the 2026-27 budget process to coordinate and promote the community renewables program in line with the City of Mitcham model.
Councillor Henderson to move that.
Do we have a seconder?
Councillor
you.
Schofield?
Councillor Henderson, would you like to speak to it?
Yes, I think this is definitely the direction in which we need to move. I moved a motion in this chamber at the beginning of my first term of council, and that motion was that the City of Victor Harbor be carbon neutral by 2030. And this, again, is another move towards that ambitious target.
Councillor Schofield, would you like to speak to the motion, Councillor Schofield?
No, thank you.
Anyone else that would like to speak to the motion?
Councillor Kemp.
Go ahead.
Just a question around why we're going with a single provider like Shine Hub. Surely we should go out and find if there's any other operators out there who provide the same type of services instead of just going to the one. I thought that wouldn't become under our procurement policy, I would have thought, if we just go to the one Shine Hub.
I'll direct that to Director of Infrastructure, Jodie Roberts, to give a clarification.
Thank you. Through the Deputy Mayor, that is an option that Council could consider. However, with the resources that we have available, I think Mitcham put on 2 full-time staff to do their tender process. So the cost involved in doing that for us might be cost prohibitive. And also, if we were looking at a regional approach, we reached out to both Alexandrina and Yankalilla to see if they were in a similar time frame, and neither of them were at the time frame that we were looking to move ahead. Because we've got the solar panel project on this building this financial year, if Council resolved to move this way, we may be able to buy those solar panels as part of this program. If Council were to go through a process where there's an alternative recommendation that Council could go through the process, that we could do the whole tender process ourselves, we would probably then come back to Council to either defer the solar panel project or look at proceeding without it being part of a bulk buy process.
A follow-up question, if I may. Again, we're stepping outside of our procurement policy by going with Shine Hub up first without doing a tender process.
I'll speak to that again.
Through the Deputy Mayor, we would need to get a waiver to our procurement process, but we would be leaning on the probity work that the City of Mitcham has already done, and they've already checked the market.
Council has the ability to resolve that outside of the procurement policy. Any further discussion about the motion?
Councillor Mann.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, I think just to some of the points that have been raised from the joint workshop we had, including with the representatives from the City of Mitcham, I understand there was a significant amount of work involved in looking at all the players in this space, and they went with obviously Shine Hub. I think they had several experts on their panel, and again there was a significant cost to that. I think in terms of where we sit, from my understanding, it wouldn't be council's not engaging, besides from our own solar panels and what we choose there, it's the residents contracting directly with Shine Hub, not council involved in that process. If our residents are still completely open to choose who they want to go with, if they're wanting to do solar or batteries, I think that doing a bulk buy scheme, reducing the cost for everyone in the community for batteries, solar, and then participating in that virtual power plant with potential cost benefits for our community, I think it's a great initiative, and it's worth definitely pursuing down now that all that, I guess, difficult legwork's been done.
Would any like to speak to the motion? If not, we'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? That's carried. Thank you.
Division, please.
Call a division. All those in favour, please stand. Councillor Mann, Councillor Mackenzie, Councillor Schofield, Councillor Henderson, and those against? Councillor Kemp. I just did the maths and worked it out. The motion has been carried. We're now moving on to 13, which is committee meeting minutes. And the first one is 13.1, which is the Disability Access and Inclusion Advisory Committee. There's two parts to this motion. I'll take the first part, which is to receive and note the minutes. So do I have a mover for that?
Councillor Henderson.
Do I have a seconder?
Councillor Schofield.
Thank you. Any questions about the minutes? If not, we'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? That's unanimous. Thank you. Next one is part 2 of the recommendation. I'll allow the acting CEO to read that out.
That council approve the reconfiguration of the accessible parking space on Albert Place in front of the Hotel Victor to include a second accessible parking space to improve safety and accessibility, and further approve an increase of $3,500 to the operating budget as part of the second budget review to undertake the required line marking and installation of a bollard.
Do we have a mover for that motion?
Councillor Henderson.
And a seconder?
Councillor Schofield.
Councillor Henderson, would you like to speak to the motion?
Just to say that I think we do need more accessible parking. We know we have an ageing population and there is not a lot of disabled parking around that area.
Councillor Schofield, would you like to speak to the motion?
No, thank you.
Anyone else that would like to speak to the motion?
Councillor Mann.
Go ahead, Councillor Mann.
Question to administration. It's not clear whether that reconfiguration means converting 2 normal car parks to 1 accessible car park, or just moving the lines of 1 to make an accessible car park.
We'll take that through Director of Infrastructure, Jodie Roberts.
Thank you. Through the Deputy Mayor, I believe there's existing 1 car park and 1 laydown area. So it's shifting. So it will be 2. One of the existing car parks will become a disability car park with a laydown area. So there'll be 2 disability car parks in the laydown area in between.
Yeah, thank you.
So it is a conversion of 1 existing car park.
Anyone else that would like to speak to the motion? If not, we'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. We're now on to 13.2, which is the Fleurieu Regional Community Services Advisory Committee, and it's to receive and note the minutes from that particular meeting. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Henderson.
Thank you. A seconder?
Councillor Mann.
Thank you. Councillor Henderson, would you like to speak to it at all?
No, thank you.
Councillor Mann?
No, thank you.
Any questions about the minutes? If not, we will put it to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? That's unanimous. Thank you. Next up, we have 14.1. Is that correct? We're doing the Mayoral report. So we're just receiving and noting the report. Anyone that would like to move that motion?
Councillor Mann.
Thank you. Seconder?
Councillor Kemp.
Anyone want to speak to the motion? If not, I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? That's unanimous. We've got questions on notice, and Councillor Mann has submitted the questions on notice, and I'll just give the title of those questions on notice, but because they will be minuted in the actual minutes, we won't go through them all. That will effectively be put them on the record for the public to see, the questions that Councillor Mann has put. So I'll just ask the acting CEO to read the item title.
Development application for an over 55s residential park in Victor Harbor by Councillor Brayden Mann.
We're on to 18.1, which is motions. Oops. Sorry, I missed one. We have questions without notice next.
Councillor Mann.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Just a few quick ones following up from the questions on notice. To administration, just confirming that there's discussion between the legislated difference between a retirement village and a residential park, but just wanted to confirm that both can effectively legally discriminate on age as to who can go into the facilities or purchase on it. It doesn't matter whether it's one or the other, both have that ability.
I'll take that for Graham Pathouse to answer that, please.
Thanks, through the Deputy Mayor. Yes, they can, through their bylaws, stipulate ages or an age limit or a minimum age, perhaps for residents of those types of facilities.
Thank you. On that as well, are they able lawfully under the legislation to limit anyone under 50 to be able to go in there?
I'll give that to Graham again.
Through the Deputy Mayor, as I understand it, yes, in terms of ownership of the leasehold for a site.
And last question, you mentioned with the fixed charge, there's 267 units. So if we were able to apply the fixed charge to that, there'd be 267 units times $495 equals a subsidy of $132,165. Is that the correct working out for that?
The formula's correct, but I can't vouch for the maths.
Me neither. Thank you, that was all.
Do we have any other questions without notice? If not, we'll move on to 18, which is questions on notice. And the first question on notice is actually motions on notice. The first one is 18.1, which is a motion that I will put forward, and I'll move the motion. I'm quite happy if the acting CEO would like to read it out. Yes, I do. If this motion doesn't is lost, I will alternately put the administration's motion up, but I would prefer to try and get my motion through. So I'll move the motion once the acting CEO's read. I'll do it on block. If you could please read it out.
That Council amend the meeting procedures for ordinary council meetings to include the announcement of staff members in attendance at the commencement of the meeting immediately following item 1 present, with the following wording: presiding member or CEO to announce all staff in attendance at the meeting. And 3, that this change or amendment commence at the next ordinary council meeting.
Seconder for the motion.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Now I'll speak to the motion. This has got benefits for our community out there that are listening to it on live stream, or might be just listening to the recording without visually watching the meeting. It enables myself and any other low vision or blind person that may be listening to the live stream to actually be aware of what staff members are in the meeting, and it's providing equity for anyone who might be using an alternate way to take in information. And on those grounds, that's why I'm putting this motion up tonight. Councillor Henderson, would you like to speak to the motion at all?
I would like to speak to it, and even though I've seconded it, I do actually prefer the alternative recommendation. My reason for that is we've had discussions around partially changing policies and procedures in this chamber for other policies and procedures. And whilst this could be considered a standalone issue and probably not related to anything else in that particular procedure, I think for the sake of consistency, we should leave it until the annual review, because that's what we've done with changes to other policies.
I have an alternate seconder if my seconder wants. Okay.
Councillor Mann.
Councillor Mann, if you'd like to speak.
Thank you. No, I appreciate Councillor Henderson's point. I think from memory, it wasn't too long ago that we had reviewed this policy, so I don't think there would be too many other changes we'd be looking to do if we did do the formal review. So, and I think Councillor Deputy Mayor Schiller's proposed motion is a good idea, and I'm happy to make that amendment now and support this motion.
Anyone else like to speak to the motion?
Councillor Kemp.
Go ahead.
I move an amendment to your motion to include elected members to be announced as well, because people watching on live stream may not know who the councillors are, and by naming them as well as staff, then everyone will know exactly who is in the chamber and conducting their business. So if you go to do it for staff, I think we should allow it to do it for members as well. So my amendment is to include the elected members to be announced.
I'm happy to change it to that amendment. Is the seconder happy to change that?
No, not really. I think it's now becoming a little more complex, and therefore I have even more reason to recommend leaving it until the annual review.
Do we have a seconder for Councillor Kemp's amendment to the original motion? Sorry. That's been lost or fallen over. So we'll go back to the original motion that has been moved by myself and by Councillor Henderson. Anyone else like to speak to the motion? If not, we'll put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? It's been lost because it's not a 2/3 majority of the chamber, so therefore that has been lost. I will now put the motion to put forward the alternate motion that the administration have suggested. So have I got a seconder for that motion?
I'll second that.
I think we've debated the concept, so anyone in the chamber that would like to talk further on this motion? If not, we'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? That's unanimous. So thank you for that. Now we're on to 18.2, and this is Councillor Mann's motion, and I will get him to read out the item number, and then he can put his motion and speak to it and find a seconder.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. The first motion is the City of Victor Harbor formally thank Premier Peter Malinauskas for his support in helping to offset some of the horse tram losses through providing indirect offset funding to the council, and that the City of Victor Harbor A, name a future foal or horse Mallee as a sign of the horse tram's ongoing gratitude, B, abandoning displaying the Save Us State Government signs on the horse tram as endorsed at the October 2025 council meeting, and C, invite the Premier to Victor Harbor's new behind-the-scenes horse tram experience to assist in promoting this incredible new tourism offering, and to discuss how the council and state government can ensure the next 130 years of the horse tram.
Do we have a mover for, a seconder for that motion?
Councillor Schofield.
Councillor Mann, would you like to speak to your motion?
Yeah, thank you. Again, those who have been following along with the advocacy, whilst council's been trying to get a commitment of ongoing support and partnership with the state government for the future of the horse tram, they've not been willing to provide that ongoing relationship just yet, and we're going to continue advocating for that. But we did, I think, Christmas Eve or the night before, we got a letter from the Premier directing us to another way to help offset the funding through a number of grant programs they've just opened up, in which councils applied for over $200,000 of funding for things we were already spending money on, and those grants are still being assessed, but I think our position is quite favourable based on the Premier's letter to us, and I think there's room to, thank the Premier for assisting us in this sense and providing some of those indirect offset funding to offset those losses. And I think it's looking at, we can't win all the battles how we want them to be won, but I think it's an ongoing relationship, and the more we can do to promote the behind-the-scenes experience to the rest of the state, and any support the government can provide in that is going to be greatly appreciated to the ongoing financial sustainability of the horse tram.
Councillor Schofield, would you like to speak to the motion?
No, thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak to the motion? If not, I will put that to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? That's unanimous. Thank you. Now, Councillor Mann has a part 2 to that under that heading. If Councillor Mann would read out the motion, please.
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Second motion is that the City of Victor Harbor, in recognition of the continued support provided by our community for a 130-year-old South Australian icon, provide one free horse tram ticket and one free behind-the-scenes experience per property in Victor Harbor upon being provided with a copy of the property's council rates notice, to be used within a period of 1 year and administered in such manner as the Horse Tram Authority sees fit.
Do I have a seconder for the motion?
Councillor Schofield, I'll second it to get the motion on the floor.
All right. Let's speak to your motion, Councillor Mann.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. This very much goes towards the community ownership of the horse tram. The state government have made it clear that so far it is going to be a community-run and community-owned experience, being the residents of the City of Victor Harbor. This is a way of showing some level of appreciation for the contribution that our community has provided in not only the ongoing annual subsidy, but also this special one-off to help them in this time of need. There's been a significant contribution the community has provided to help the horse tram, and I think anything we can do to help the community have ownership over the horse tram is going to help promote it as well. I've spoken to people in the community around whether they've done the behind-the-scenes horse tram experience, and most of them say they haven't, and that they didn't even know it existed. So I think there's a lot of work we can do with our local community to get them there, to get them promoting it, to telling their friends, family, everyone who comes and visited, because I think the more our community feels ownership over the horse tram, the better it will be for the longevity of it. And with this, I know the report mentions around potential financial implications because they're not sure around how the uptake and what that'll be. But I think effectively people who are residents, and there might be one, a family, could be two people, it could be multiple, and if they're going and doing it or experiencing it, they might be getting one free ticket, but they'll be paying for the others. And I think it can also be administered as the horse tram sees fit as well. I think they've got enough authority around if it's only financially viable to run or to acknowledge these vouchers once a month on be a tourist in your own town day or whatever they want to do, then that's completely for them to work out. I think this is a way in which we can thank our community for the contribution, not that they've had the choice in terms of how they can voice it to elected members, but everyone agrees, or many in the community agree, the importance of the horse tram, and the more we can thank them and help them to have more ownership over the horse tram, I think the better it will be for its longevity.
Councillor Schofield, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, I will, please. While I thank Councillor Mann for bringing up some incentives for the horse tram, on actually reading this, it says that the City of Victor Harbor will support and provide our community with the tickets. So I'm assuming that means that the City of Victor Harbor will be paying the horse tram for the tickets that are allocated to the community. I've done some homework on some of this and look at the figures. I think this, it's a hard call. I support the horse tram 100%. I think it's time that the board actually took on board their responsibility, and I believe before Christmas the board was going to have a meeting to have a look at ways that they could increase their revenue. At this stage, the council hasn't had feedback from that. And so I think that we really should wait to see what they're doing. We've already handed out $650,000. If the council wasn't going to support this financially, then the cost will come to the horse tram. And I have, as I said, I have done a few figures on it, and I believe that it wouldn't increase their revenue at this particular stage. So I'd like to wait and just see what the board comes back with, because at the end of the day, it is the board's responsibility to ensure that the horse tram is being financially viable. And I'd like to see the board come back with their findings from their planning meeting they had, which is now, 6 or 7 weeks ago, and also taking in consideration comments from across the community as well. So I think it's our responsibility at this particular stage to go back to the board and find out exactly what they're doing before we give more money on behalf of our community. So therefore I won't support this particular part of the motion.
Councillor Mackenzie.
Go ahead.
Are we able to adjourn this for a future meeting in that case, if the board are making decisions around this?
Would you like to adjourn it?
Yes, please. To, let's say, next meeting, February.
Do we have a seconder for that adjournment?
I'm happy to second that. Sorry, if I'm allowed, I can't remember if I was the mover of the original, if I could move the adjournment Probably
Yeah.
safer for someone else to do it potentially. Yeah, then I'm happy to. I think it's a good idea, and we'll wait to hear from the board, and hopefully we get something by February.
All right, we'd like a rationale for the adjournment, so we've got an explanation. So, Councillor McKenzie, what's your reasoning for adjourning the motion?
I'd like to hear what the board has to say about incentives and a plan around drawing more attraction to the tram. And I think allowing us time to the next meeting should be more than enough time to hear back from them. And if not, then it might be another adjournment, but we'll hopefully have some answers by then.
Councillor McKenzie, are you happy with the way the motion is written on the board? Oh, sorry. Tap, tap.
Yeah, happy with that. Thanks.
Yes, we'll have the motion read out, please.
That the matter be adjourned to the February Ordinary Council meeting to enable time for the Victor Harbour Horse Tram Authority Board to provide council with an incentive plan for drawing. Just one moment, sorry. To provide council. With a plan, get rid of incentive. With its plan to draw more attraction to the horse tram. Are you happy with that, Councillor McKenzie, or not quite?
Maybe it's just its attraction strategy.
With its visitor attraction strategy.
Yeah. Thanks.
Are you happy
I'll
with
just
that?
ask the seconder whether they're happy with the.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
We'll have another try.
Yeah, sorry, just crafting it so it makes your point. That the matter be adjourned to the February Ordinary Council meeting to enable time for the Victor Harbour Horse Tram Authority Board to provide council with its visitor attraction strategy.
Right, on an adjournment, there's no debate. Correct. Yeah, formal motion, so we'll now put that to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? That's a unanimous decision, and I think that's a good thing to do. So. Next is 18.3, which is there's three parts to this motion, so we'll take each motion separately, and I'll allow Councillor Mann to speak to his first motion first. Firstly, could you please say what the motion is, and then we'll see if you've got a seconder and you can speak to it.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. The first motion is, in the lead up to the 2026 local government election, the City of Victor Harbour look to soon start encouraging local community members to consider nominating for council, including 1, holding information and Q&A sessions about what the role entails, 2, consulting with the community as to what would make them more likely to consider running for council and what is currently holding them back, and 3, alongside the consultation, the City of Victor Harbour review the outdated elected members' allowance and benefits policy to bring local government into the 21st century and help attract a broader range of high quality community-minded candidates to run for council.
Do we have a seconder for the motion?
Councillor Schofield.
Thank you. Councillor Mann, would you like to speak to your motion?
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Mayor. I won't go into too much because there's a small essay in the commentary, but effectively it's been a year, last January, since I put my first ever motion on notice up, and there's probably been 40 since then. But I think this is probably one of the most important ones for the future of our town. What we've all been going through and experiencing is that for years now, the City of Victor Harbor has been trying to advocate to anyone who has a role in it around the structural issues with local government. As we saw at the last election, there are a number of councils that couldn't attract enough candidates. Voter participation was around 30%. There's a significant amount of difficulty that comes with this role as well. And I think the City of Victor Harbor, whilst we have been, I'd say, incredibly fortunate to have such a great and varied mix of elected members these past 8 years, I think we're not immune from the challenges that are coming to local government as well. This motion is really about how the City of Victor Harbor and the community takes charge in attracting and retaining its future leaders. I think as a community, the best investment we can make is in our leaders, and especially as Victor Harbor looks to go through a significant amount of growth in the future. And we've seen how that plays out around the state and all the issues that come from that. And I think during the next 10 years, we want the best leaders we can possibly get, and even beyond that. We've tried going to the remuneration tribunal around, outlining all the difficulties and complexities that come with this role, and they didn't really want a bar of it. We've tried going to the local government minister. The mayor's written to every council in the state. We've gone through the LGA as well, and they're starting to finally look at the issue. But again, there's a lot of advocacy we've been trying to do. But at the end of the day, if we want to protect our community and the future of it, we need the best leaders, and we can't wait for structural changes anywhere else. And this is one way we can do that, is engaging with the community. So, for everyone out there to think of one person who they'd want on council and then go and convince them to run. And also looking at the elected members' benefits and allowance policy. There's very little we can change in it, but there's definitely some things that we can look at or take an innovative approach. For example, currently, if you're a single parent on council, or let's say your partner or husband or wife isn't able to look after your infant children whilst you're off at a council meeting, you're entitled to one reimbursement or one allowance for a carer fee of $40 per meeting. Now these days, $40 might get you an hour of childcare, and I can't remember the last time we had a council meeting that went for an hour. And that's just one example. There's a lot in there, and I personally know that I want to live in Victor Harbor the rest of my life, but I certainly don't want to be on council for the rest of my life. And I think we need to have, and as someone who wants to live down here and invest in it, I think we need to have the best leaders that we can possibly get. And I know out there in our community is people that would make much, much better councillors than me, but it's around how we convince them to do it. Because I know how little time I have for this role. I know how stressful it can be, and I know how difficult it is to balance the priorities. But it's how we get the other people in our community, those people who really care about our community, who want to protect the future. How do we get them involved? And I think this is one small way we can look to do that, and encourage and incentivise and protect the future of our council and our local government area. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of people out there trying to attack local government, get rid of it altogether. But it is the one voice our community has to push back against private developers, the state government, federal government. It's our one ability and one body that can help shape the community as our community want it to be shaped. So I think this is one of the most important things we can do, and certainly hope a lot of elected members see that too.
Councillor Schofield, would you like to speak to the motion?
No, thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak to the motion?
Councillor Kemp.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure whether this motion will achieve exactly what Councillor Mann is trying to achieve. I've thought that the members sitting around this table are one of the best ones that the community could have put into power into positions. I don't think you'll attract the people that you think you will attract. I think you'll find that people will put their hand up because they want to serve their community on council. It's a good idea to have more of an insight of what the role of the councillor is and what their duties are. But again, re-looking at the elected members' allowance and policy, we can't do much with it, as you said. We can't really increase the fees, allowances that the elected members get. So I'm not quite sure whether this motion will actually achieve anything. So I don't see any benefit in doing it. I think we got 15 to 19 candidates last election and to fill 9 positions. So the community picked who they thought was the best 9 out of the 15, 19. So I think, to me, this is just really not a good way of doing it, because community will step forward if they want to get involved with council and do that by their own means and understand it. And irrespective of what their qualifications are, they are representing the community because they come from the community and they should know what's going on. So I won't be supporting it.
Any other elected members who would like to speak to the motion?
Councillor Henderson.
Go ahead.
I do think this is a good idea. I think if people can have that ability to ask questions well before the local government elections come up, and then they can consider whether they wish to stand or not. And I think in a question answer session type situation, it is less threatening than maybe coming in and talking to council staff in the office. It's much more open and relaxed, I feel, if they can ask their questions in that manner. And it also gives whoever is running the question and answer sessions an opportunity to not only feedback that information to prospective candidates, but also to gain from those candidates what they envisage the role to be, and therefore have that two-way conversation. So I will support this. I do think we need to be more open and more inviting to candidates in the local community.
Would anyone else like to speak to the motion?
Councillor Mann to close.
Go ahead, Councillor Mann.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, no, I appreciate your comments, Councillor Henderson, and also equally Councillor Campo. To the point around, I have a ridiculous amount of respect for our current elected members and our past elected members, and know exactly what this role entails. Anyone who puts their hand up to sit in one of these seats and deal with the stuff we have to deal with is very high in my books. And as I understand, there's a bunch of us potentially looking to step down at the next election, and I think there'll be plenty of room for community to get involved. And I think the intent of what this goes to is, yes, it might not achieve too much, or we might not be able to review the policy too much. I know there are different things we can do around training and benefits and different opportunities to upskill, and maybe we can look at that more, and that can be informed from what we're hearing from our community as well. But I think we've got to try something, and I think it's what we're seeing around the state with the LGA, the state government, and all the issues that are happening with effectively councillors resigning each month. By the what we're seeing is a bit of complacency around protecting and encouraging and fostering leadership in our communities. And it's great that we have had a lot of excellent candidates in the past, and I think there's no disadvantage by giving our community more and more fantastic options when it comes to elections, because if there's more people on the ballot that they're excited about, that they're wanting to vote for, they're more likely to vote, and we're going to have higher numbers than 30 or 40% of the population even voting. So we'll see how it goes, but I think we have to try something, because everyone else is sort of state government, LGA. There's a lot of people who haven't been as active in this space, and we need to take some leadership.
That's closed the debate. So we will now put that to the vote. All those in favour and those against? That's been carried. Thank you. Next, we have a second motion from Councillor Mann.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
If
I'm happy to read that out.
yes, please.
Thank you. Second motion is administration start preparing a detailed submission to the Remuneration Tribunal for the City of Victor Harbor to be increased to a Group 2 or higher, including a comparative analysis and evidentiary basis for the change that satisfies the issues raised by the Tribunal to our 2022 submission.
Do we have a seconder for the motion before we go any further?
Councillor Mackenzie.
Okay, Councillor Mann, would you like to speak to the motion?
May I ask a question first? Sorry. I was under the understanding that the groups were based on a population base. They're not?
If I can answer that through the Mayor, through the Deputy Mayor.
Maybe could I please direct that to Kyla Walker, please? We will take that on notice and have to bring that back to you, Councillor Henderson.
Thank you.
If you'd like.
Councillor Mann, if you'd like to speak to your motion.
Yeah, thank you. So back in 2022, the City of Victor Harbor put in a quite extensive and detailed submission to the Remuneration Tribunal around where the City of Victor Harbor sat in terms of our remuneration bands, and also again highlighting all the structural issues that the council and elected members have found in the role of being elected member. And at that time, they effectively said, "Oh, you haven't given us enough evidentiary basis, or there's not enough detail, or it's not really in our remit to look at this in terms of those bigger issues." But effectively, this is asking administration to start preparing another submission, because that's going to come up again and they're going to look at it. And I can be certain and confident in the fact that this job has got 10 times harder since I first got onto council 7 years ago. And I think my understanding of how the different bands are made up is it's population is one factor, but I think they look at a number of different factors as well. And particularly when you look at everything that's going on in the City of Victor Harbor at the moment, the amount of multi-million-dollar public-private partnerships we're looking at and negotiating on, you look at the amount of growth that's coming, the amount of pushback we're having to do, everything else that as a regional council we're having to deliver, where we sit in the current banding, which has, I think, allowance of, it was $16,000 per year. I think it's now with CPI maybe around 17,000, is not, even the band's never going to be adequate to the amount of time and energy that comes with the role. But, when you're looking at attracting and going back to the early motions of attracting and retaining people and people in that working force as well to do it, if you've got a HECSTED or you're already working other jobs, you get slumped with a $6-7 grand tax bill for your service with the council. And I think there is a lot of work. I know the LGA have finally started looking at some of this, because they were getting repeated submissions from all the councils around the state around this issue. But again, this is one other thing that if it might encourage other people to run if that remuneration was slightly higher, or there was effectively a bit more of a benefit for the time you put in. And the sacrifice will always be significant, because that's how local government is structured in South Australia. But anything we can do to help lower the burden in this, current cost of living situation, to help incentivise others to run, I think is important.
Just before Councillor Mackenzie, if he wants to speak, we have got someone, Kyla Walker's having a look to see if she can possibly find the answer, but it is something that probably, this is relating to Councillor Henderson's question. If it's not possible to get the answer to you in the meeting, we will defer it and take it on notice. So Councillor Mackenzie, would you like to speak to the motion?
I've got nothing to add. Councillor Mann summed it up well.
Do we have anyone else that would like to speak to this motion?
Councillor Kemp.
Go ahead, Councillor.
Yeah, I'm sort of in line with Councillor Henderson. There is certain criteria which designate how councils move up through the bands. Well, I think we're currently in band 3. If we go to band 2, I think it's all along the lines of, as say, population. It's also your budget. What's your budget set at? How many staff, full-time staff in council? All this criteria has to be looked at and met before you go up to another band, because going up to another band, again, it's causing more impact on the community, more expense, more costs for those reasons. So that's why the tribunal sets down certain criteria for councils to move up the band. So I think really this is I don't think this could be achieved, this motion, if it passes. I don't think it can be achieved because of the criteria that's already set. Thank you.
We now have an answer to Councillor Henderson's question. So I will ask the acting CEO to read out what she's found out.
Thank you to the staff for helping me. So the bands are determined primarily by total operating revenue and further adjusted for projected population growth, population dispersion, distance from Adelaide and socio-economic advantage or disadvantage.
Would anyone else like to speak to the motion? Councillor Mann, would you like to close the debate?
No, that's fine.
We'll put this to the vote. Anyone that is in favour, could you please raise your hand? Those against? The motion has been lost. Sorry. We'll sack her later. We're just trying to sort out the technical issue with the buzzing, so just bear with us for a moment. Now we're on to the third motion that's been put by Councillor Mann, and I'll ask him to read that motion out, and then we will seek a seconder before we go any further.
Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to move the administration's alternative recommendation that they've put up, being that council supports the proposed item of business as provided attachment 2 to be submitted to the Local Government Association's ordinary general meeting.
Do we have a seconder for that motion?
Councillor Henderson.
Thank you. Councillor Mann, would you like to speak to your motion?
Yeah, thank you. I guess this goes to a lot of the discussion we've been having around the effectiveness of the LGA, and at the moment, unfortunately, there's a bit of an understanding in the sector that the LGA's effectiveness is limited, and I think they're going through a bunch of work to try and improve as an organisation and the output they provide. But what this is looking at is calling for a report to be done as to what the benefits of a elected member state union would be, or a similar style representative body that just represents elected members. This is something, again, done in response to a continual effort to improve the structural nature of local government, to respond to a lot of the issues that has been having that are sort of falling on deaf ears with state government. And I think, with a Labor government who's very pro-union in the mix, I think there is benefit for at least looking at what a union could look like in terms of representing the issues that elected members and the councils are having across the state, whether they are in conjunction and collaboration with the LGA or in competition. I think there's benefits to both options, but I think something needs to be done for the future of local government. I think this is one way which councils can have an effective representation that I think there's, some will have the perception that the LGA is another government department. And I think what we're trying to see is effective advocacy, because over the years, the ability for elected members and councils to voice opposition is becoming reduced, and our powers are being reduced. And I think a body that represents our views and represents elected members across the state will not only help improve the sector and push for meaningful reforms. The state government, after the failure of the last election, had I think it was nearly 500-page submission or report done, which consisted of feedback across all the councils, elected members, people from across the state. And the only recommendation we saw from the state government, or not even a recommendation, the only thing they moved was to further limit who could vote in local government elections being Australian citizens. So I think it just shows the approach being taken to local government as a sector. And I think looking at some structural and substantive change and whether this will lead to that, I think it's something that needs to be done. And hopefully councillors and other councils around the state might look to at least investigate it.
Councillor Henderson, would you like to speak to the motion?
Thank you. I think Councillor Mann has said everything necessary and made some very good points. The only thing I'd like to add is that in my experience, when you do get to talk to councillors from other councillors, regardless of whether they're rural councils or city-based councils, you come to realise that we all have some very, very similar issues. And it's not only nice to share those, but to discuss how they are dealt with by different councils.
Any persons other that would like to speak to the motion? If not, Councillor Mann, you happy to close it?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay. All those in favour? Those against? That's unanimous. Thank you. Do we have any motions without notice? If not, we will move on to 20, which is confidential items. 20.1 is behavioural management. So the first motion that we will put up is to go into confidence. So do I have a mover for that?
Councillor Mackenzie.
Thank you. A seconder?
Councillor Mann.
Thank you. All those in favour? Those against? That's unanimous. Thank you to the people listening out there, and we will move on to confidential items. Thank you.